Right now, since we just came off the practice fields, it's really about the game, and that's actually the most familiar place. But I'll tell you, even when our team walked out on the field today, I took a moment, I put them all on the red in and center field and said, just take this all in, you have earned it, so I want you to feel it for a moment, and then we'll get ready and practice, and because they have earned it, and that's why I actually wore my shirt today, because they've earned it.
You've been in this situation quite a few times. How does the just anticipation of this feel similar, different to previous go-arounds?
I think the feelings are very similar. I mean, like I said, things that are swimming in your gut are going to be swimming in your gut or flying in your gut, and I think that you just learn to try to take those and know that that's a good energy. It's not necessarily a bad thing. I think where people really have to work, because we are at home, it's kind of like funneling down, and because there's just like a lot of excitement, and even on after we won the Big Ten tournament, I wanted the players to have a good day and a half where they could just kind of go wee, and then once we had the selection show, now it's time to funnel it back down, and that's where we are now.
On selection show Sunday, you mentioned 3 keys to the crowd at bowling. It was something like be present, stay in the moment, and win every pitch. How much has that carried this team to this point and hopefully into the tournament?
Yeah, and it's been our motto all year long, and I'm not just even talking the season. We started that in the fall, and so everything that we've done hopefully is just very familiar. Like today, it was the same practice that we've done on how many ever weeks the season's been. Thursdays, every week on Thursday, whether we're on the road, whether we're in Clearwater doing our pre-tournament practice, or whether we're at Penn State. That practice looked just the same. So trying to keep everything as similar as possible.
You mentioned a key thing for this team is to play boring baseball, taking care of the little things. Can you speak a little bit more to that?
Maybe I boring has hooked on to you guys, so maybe I need to go boring, being just really routine and consistent. Sticking with a really consistent routine, which there's not a lot of fluff to it or a lot of necessarily excitement to it. But to me, when people can achieve excellence, it's like they master those little things that can be boring or tedious.
What do you know about South Dakota at this point, and then also just Grand Canyon and Louisville going into this weekend?
I know a lot more than I did a few days ago. South Dakota, they're hot at the right time. And they've got a pitcher that is just really gritty and comes at you. And, she throws hard. She's in the upper 60s. She throws as hard as almost anybody we faced this year. She also has a great changeup. They also have, I think, 6 Nebraska kids on their team, and it's going to mean a lot for them to be here. And, they found ways to beat a very good Omaha team, not once, but twice a week ago.
So after putting Emerson into DP and take some of the workload off of Alexis, it appears the first appearance really worked out. Is that something you plan to keep doing going forward without giving up too much?
Yeah, I don't know. It's really about matchups too. It's about matchups. The heat's obviously going to factor in. To have a pitcher hitting and being on the bases a lot when they're also trying to pitch and do that when it's 90 degrees out and we're not used to 90 degrees. Maybe not the most prudent thing to do when we do have like an Emerson Cope that can swing the bat the way she does. So it'll be a game by game scenario.
Lessons learned in that regard from Baton Rouge last year.
With the heat?
Yeah.
I know. I didn't even think of that till now. So yeah, maybe we are prepping for. We've been prepping for 3 days by electrolytes and hydrating, and we're ready for what we need in the dugout to stay cool. Absolutely.
Have you seen everyone just handle all the extra things that the heightened stakes entail?
I think that we've had moments where it's like, whoa, there's a lot to do, but then they're a mature group, so then they're able to exhale. And like the last thing we did at practice, and this isn't uncommon. Sometimes I just ask a question impromptu at the end of practice, and they all answer it. Today was, what are you grateful for? So it just slowed us down. I mean, if I ask all of you, what are you grateful for? You kind of have to all exhale and really think about it. And we did that, and as they all said it, you could just feel collectively like you just want to hug everybody. It was a cool moment.
So what is the one thing going forward you want your team to be thinking of this weekend, and why is that just worry about the next pitch?
Well, you just answered the question.
It's not, for me
but here's the thing. It's not worry about
What?
The next pitch. It's work to win the next pitch. And that's a key distinction, because we don't really want to worry about it. We want to work to win it. And that's really the key, because like I've said so many times, I'm triple their age. And I could be standing over there at third base, and if I don't stay present, I know I can get us into trouble. So if they don't stay present, they could probably get themselves into trouble. And that's the last thing we want for them. And that's the first thing as coaches we want them to be able to do, is stay present, because then there's no regrets. You just take whatever the results are and know that you did your best.
Track and field is hosting the Big Ten Championship this weekend. Take off the coach hat, put on the community hat. What does it mean for Lincoln to be hosting 2 major college events?
I think Lincoln fans or Nebraska fans are going to be really busy going back and forth. Maybe some are going to go to both events. There's a buzz in this town. It's awesome. You know, when I get emails that streets are going to be closed for this event or that event, it just makes you think that, you know, Nebraska athletics are important. And it's a lot of sports. I mean, we're talking 2 different sports that aren't always in the spotlight, but they are important, and fans do show up, and it means something to people to be a part of something that's special. And track and field's having a special year, we're having a special year, and so let's make special really big.
You mentioned consistent softball. Somebody who's been very consistent for you, probably one of the lesser talked about seniors, Hannah Core in center. Rob's a home run during practice today, something that she's been doing throughout the season, and you've mentioned her in many press conferences. Can you talk about the impact that she's had on your team this year, and especially with the experience that she has in the postseason?
Yeah, you know, what you saw today in practice is every day in practice. Like, if she doesn't rob a home run in practice, it's almost like, what happened? You know, because she just does that really routinely. She made a really nice diving catch. Like, if either one of those things happen in a game, the crowd goes berserk. We see it every day. But what she does, she just does give it a calming presence, because she has been there and she's been through all the fires, and she understands the excitement of hosting. She understands the sellouts. She understands the potential distractions. So she's able to come in with just some really key, not big long stories, but maybe just a one-line thing, and it really helps our team just go, oh yeah, okay, and just exhale.
The back end of your lineup has really produced lately. You know, how important is it for 7, 8, 9 to get going?
You know, I've heard Diane Miller say for years that 7, 8, 9 is usually, if you want to see a successful offense, 7, 8, 9 are going to be successful, because they roll it over to the top of that offense. And oftentimes, you know, if you don't have that, it's hard to get a lot of things going. So they've been key.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I always like to put in the most amount of work towards the end of the season, because I feel like that's when my body gets the most tired. So I think just putting in extra work really helps me prepare for these upcoming games.
How much does, having been through this all, you guys and the majority of the team being through this process of going to a regionals, everything that entails, how much does that help, and how much do you just know more what to expect?
I think it's huge. I think it just gives us a lot more confidence than when it's your first time going through. You kind of know what to expect, you know the environment a little bit more. But I think it's just going to give us even more confidence than it did last year, where a lot of us, it was our first time. So.
How does this experience feel different doing it at home?
I think it's huge. Like, we have everybody behind us, so I think that's going to be different than when obviously we're LSU and Tennessee. Our parents and our families were there, but there's a lot smaller crowd. So just to have everyone behind us is going to be really huge for us.
Does it take away from some of the kind of natural nerves, jitters, that sort of thing, that you're in a familiar place like that?
Yeah, I think it puts you at ease a little bit more. I mean, especially like Tennessee, they had a little bit of a rowdy crowd last year, so I think knowing that like a lot of the people in their stands are people that you know.
Well,
Go ahead.
Sammy, this team has a lot of expectations coming in as one of the top 4 number 1 seeds. Just maybe what's been the message from Coach out of practice today? And I know players like, you know, Hannah Core and players like that have been in these moments, have kind of spoken out.
Coach has really emphasized being like one pitch at a time, so we're trying to slow ourselves down as we're going into postseason, so we're taking every single moment like just slowly, but still being in the moment.
So to follow up on the home field advantage a little, you guys just came from a trip to Maryland and back. Just what's the difference when you can sleep, not have to hop off a plane, sleep in your own bed, etc.?
Personally, I love playing at home because there's just so much, like, I don't know what the words, but it's just so cool. Like, I love being able to look up at the stands and just see all these people wearing red and supporting us. Compared to Maryland, it was the same way. Like, I loved looking up into the stands and seeing all of our parents, our friends, family, and everything. But sleeping in your own bed kind of gives you like a one-up on the other team, just being in a comfortable space.
What do you know about South Dakota after prepping for them all week?
We just know they're a team who obviously won their conference tournament, and they're going to come out here and be ready. I mean, when you win your conference tournament, everything's going right for you at the right time. So I think just knowing that they're a team who likes to get after it and that they're going to do the same thing, even though it's our regional, they're going to come out here and they're going to be ready to play us.
Do you know some of those girls? There's 7 Nebraskans on that Coyote roster.
Yeah, some of them I played against in high school ball, so that's pretty cool that they get to come home and play here. And I know how special it is just to get to play in front of your friends and family. So really cool for them, and then really cool for us that we get to play girls that we grew up playing against.
Well, after being snubbed for the all-conference teams, you seem to come out and right away double off the left field fence, the big hit against UCLA. Did it put a little extra spark into you, or is that something you just don't worry about?
Just something we don't worry about. I mean, just going out here, our biggest thing is to figure out how to get a win at the end of the day. So however that is, just worrying about ending the day with a W.
I asked one of your coaches yesterday one word to describe you guys, and they used the word love. Why did they say that?
Okay, so a big emphasis on our team this year. We read the book called The Carpenter, and The Carpenter, the main things are love, serve, and care. And I think what's really helped our team be successful this year is just doing everything out of love, whether that's loving each other, loving the grind, loving the hard, loving the wins, the losses, everything.
I guess, Lauren, what's it going to take for this team to stay composed if you guys go down any of these games, or just, just going into a weekend with a lot of expectations?
Yeah, I think kind of just what happened to us in the Big Ten tournament finals, just taking that same momentum into this. We got down, but never thinking that we're out of it. I mean, we have the lineup, we have the pitching, we have the defense to keep ourselves in any game. So just knowing that, just trusting our stuff and playing Nebraska softball.
Looking back at some of the wins, against Texas Tech, those bigger wins, how important are those gritty wins for you guys, on this bigger stage?
Yeah, I think they're going to be huge. They're all teams that are going to make a deep run in postseason. So using how we fueled ourselves in those games and how we came out to figure out how to win those games, using those things in these games to help us come out and win these also.
Obviously, this is a team with a lot of experience, but you look at freshmen like Alexis Jensen, looking for contribution across the board. How much more well equipped does this team feel?
Yeah, I think it's huge. I mean, last year Jordy threw a majority of our innings, so to be able to have Alexis to come in, and she's so confident on the mound, to have that confidence and be able to trust her as a freshman is really huge for us.
All good?